Anthony Richardson is one of the most polarizing prospects in the 2023 NFL Draft. With some major physical tools, Anthony Richardson also has some very glaring weaknesses. Hey guys, welcome back, and in today's video we'll be taking a deep dive into one of the best quarterback prospects in the 2023 NFL Draft. That's Florida's Anthony Richardson. Tremendous athlete and a guy who's been skyrocketing up boards after a tremendous showing at the NFL Draft Combine. We're going to be discussing whether he's worth the hype or not. Before I get into it, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and let me know which players you want to see me break down next. I love doing these videos and would love your feedback on who you guys want to see me break down next. But let's take a closer look at AR-15. Anthony Richardson is the youngest quarterback in this draft class, coming in at only 21 years old. He was getting some buzz before the NFL Draft Combine when Vegas changed his odds and had them go up for him to be the #1 player off the board, but after the Combine, he shocked the world. Richardson ran a 4.4 had the highest vertical leap in Combine history for a quarterback, and he really showed off his arm strength in front of one of the biggest crowds of NFL scouts. He really started gaining some traction as a potential #1 pick. There are multiple reasons to fall in love with Richardson's game. Anthony Richardson has fantastic size. 6'4", 244 pounds, he is a strong, physically gifted quarterback with an incredible arm and great speed, and he checks all the boxes in terms of size when it comes to your quarterback. Anthony Richardson has an unbelievable arm. He can sling the ball 60-70 yards, and he makes it look effortless. He has very nice footwork in the pocket and is able to sling the ball down the field. He has the best arm in this class, and I don't think it's particularly close. I know being able to throw the ball deep is great and all, but it's meaningless if you aren't able to hit the wide receivers. Richardson really did not have great weapons at Florida, which maybe you can credit some of his woes to that, but he has some areas to improve on, but his arm strength is top of the notch. Another reason teams may buy into the Anthony Richardson hype is his dual threat ability. As previously mentioned, Richardson ran a 4.4 at the NFL Combine. That is rare speed for a player, especially a quarterback, and in today's NFL, it is important to have a guy who can run the football and extend plays with his legs. He is mobile, can dance around in the pocket, and still make the right throws. Richardson runs with power and speed. He is able to use his strength and fight off tacklers and extend for extra yardage. While you love a quarterback who can do that, you should also be wary, as sometimes it leads to them taking unnecessary hits and can lead to injuries. But Richardson's a very solid runner and has a bigger frame in comparison to some of these other quarterbacks that use their legs pretty often. He has some major concerns though as a prospect, the first of which are consistency issues. There are some games where he looks like one of the best players in the nation, and others where we don't see it, and it's a night and day difference, and it looks like we're watching two different players. Against Utah in the first game of the season, Richardson was 17 of 24 for 168 yards, but ran for 106 yards and 3 touchdowns in a big win over the Utes where he carried them to victory. But the very next week, they played a pretty lackluster defense in Kentucky, and he struggled through 2 interceptions and was 14 of 35 completing passes, and he needed to be more consistent. I know every quarterback has some off games, but sometimes it's like watching two different players. You get one guy who's dominant, and other games where you're questioning if this guy could even play at the NFL level at all. Accuracy is another concern when it comes to Anthony Richardson. Many times he will throw the ball too far and overthrow his wide receivers. This is a consistent issue for him, and sometimes he overthrows them by a large margin. Not only that, Richardson will try and fit the ball into very tight windows from time to time, which is risky and is another thing that causes more problems and more turnovers for him. He had 17 touchdowns and 9 interceptions on the year passing, and he needs to improve upon his accuracy. Like I said earlier, you can have a good arm and have all the physical tools in the world, and you can be able to sling the ball 60 yards all day, but you need to be able to hit your receivers, and that's something that I think is going to take some time and experience for Anthony Richardson to really get right, and it's a big struggle for him at this point in his career. And lastly, his mechanics are off sometimes. When Richardson stands in the pocket, he has a good form, good footwork, and he gets his feet set, he can make good decisions with the football. When he operates and doesn't go through his mechanics, everything looks completely off, And that's something that needs to improve upon. He needs to work on getting his mechanics right, standing in the pocket, scanning the field, making sure his timing is right. Little split-second decisions like that quarterbacks need to be able to hit on. It's one of the hardest positions to play in sports because it's go, go, go. And when he operates and goes through his mechanics, he's a really good quarterback, and you can see the potential there. Richardson, I think, would benefit most from playing in a heavy RPO scheme. A scheme that forces him to get the ball out of his hands quickly, but also will allow him to use his natural speed and athleticism in design quarterback runs. I think his running ability will be a big part of his game at the next level, and an RPO designed offense would be best in helping lock Richardson's full potential. When it comes to a pro comparison, I think this is one of the easiest comparisons to make in the entire class. Maybe it's unoriginal, but I think it's Lamar Jackson. Both are electric athletes with the ball in their hands. They can make plays with their legs, great runners, good speed, strong physical, but they also have good arm strength. I know everyone wants to knock on Lamar, doesn't have good weapons. He can still throw the ball pretty well. They both do struggle with accuracy from time to time, but I think this is one of the most comparable players to a pro in this entire draft class. Richardson to me is not a week 1 starter. He is still an extremely raw prospect, but the potential is there. You can see so much upside with him. I think he would benefit most from going to a team like Seattle, a team that is looking to, they got their quarterback for next year already set, sit him for a year, let him develop, and see what we can do. Very rarely do we find a guy with this type of strength, size, and speed combo, and I think teams are craving to add a guy like this to their offense. If he hits, you could look like a genius, because if the potential matches what we think he could be, you might have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But there's a massive risk involved, and you've got to be willing to take the risk. Ultimately, I think someone is going to bite, and Anthony Richardson will be selected in the top 5 of the 2023 NFL Draft.